Ready?
Yeah, let's do this. Hi, and welcome to the Beer News Report. Cheers. I'm your host, Art Maurice, and this is being filmed at the Create TV studios in San Jose, California. You're welcome to drink along with me, as I find it makes the show more entertaining. Tonight, we're going to talk about what I call the Impeachment Conspiracy Theory. First, I'm going to talk about the history of impeachments, then what effects impeachment has, and finally, what we can do about it. Are you ready? Let's do this. On Wednesday, December 18, 2019, the House of Representatives made history by impeaching President Donald J. Trump. This was only the third time that this has happened in the history of the United States. The other two times were President William J. Clinton in 1998 and President Andrew Johnson in 1868. Let's start with the first impeachment. President Johnson was impeached primarily for the violation of Tenure of Office Act, but also for high crimes and misdemeanors. What brought this on? President Lincoln, a Republican, wanted Andrew Johnson, a Democrat, for his vice president. Lincoln did this to try and unite the United States after being in the Civil War. Lincoln thought Johnson, being from the South, would make the Southern Reconstruction go easier. But think about this. What must have the Republicans been saying to President Lincoln when he wanted Johnson as vice president? Hey, Abe, do you really think this is a good idea? I mean, what if something happens to you? And Abe's like, what could happen to me? What do you think, I'm going to die in office? Quit being a worrywart. Well, we all know what happens next. Lincoln gets assassinated, Johnson becomes president, and he starts to remove all the rights that Lincoln and the Republicans gave blacks. This is what brought on the impeachment, and the thing that the Republicans, the thing is the Republicans had a strong majority in both the House and the Senate. The House easily impeached him, but the Senate lost by one vote, even though the Republicans didn't need any Democrat votes. So, Johnson continued as president, finishing his term in 1869, but because of the impeachment, the Democrats did not nominate him to the presidential ticket in the elections of 1868. So with no incumbent, the Republicans won and Ulysses S. Grant became president. All right, Grant. Cheers to you. Okay, on to President William J. Clinton's impeachment. There are two articles of impeachment on President Clinton: lying under oath and obstruction of justice. Clinton was in his second term as a Democrat, and the Republicans controlled the House of Congress. Thus, they easily impeached him, and the trial moved on to Senate for approval. The Senate, also controlled by Republicans, but only by 10 seats. This would give them 60 votes, but they needed 67. So both articles of impeachment were defeated, and President Clinton finishes his term in office. Fun fact, Speaker of the House Newt Gingrich pushed for the impeachment because the polls said it would add seats to the Republican House. But in the 1998 elections, the Republicans actually lost seats. Mr. Gingrich, having been newly elected but blamed for the loss, was forced to resign from the House speakership, and he finally resigned from office in January of 1999, only been in office for 1 month after that election. Hey, Newt, you had to give it a shot. Cheers to you. Now on to President Donald J. Trump. There's two articles of impeachment on President Trump: abuse of power and obstruction of justice. President Trump is in his first term as a Republican, and the Democrats control the House of Congress. They easily impeached him, but the Senate is controlled by the Republicans. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell said that he would take his cues directly from the president's lawyers, basically meaning there would not be a conviction of President Trump. Having heard that, Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi came into the articles of impeachment and held on to them until some plan of action could be determined in the Senate where they can get a fair trial. After a month, she turned in the articles of impeachment and started the trial. On Friday, January 31st, the Senate voted down the use of witnesses on the trial. On Wednesday, February 5th, the Senate will give the final vote on President Trump's impeachment. Now, this show is being taped on Monday, February 3rd, so I don't know the outcome. But based on past impeachments, I would say the Senate will not remove President Trump from office. Think about it. If the Senate didn't remove President Johnson when he tried to bring back slavery, and the Republicans controlled both the House and the Senate, I mean, obviously they're not going to remove President Trump. I'm sure there'll be other impeachments in the future, and it'll be interesting to see what a president has to do to be removed from office. The closest one was Nixon, but he resigned before he got impeached. So what's a conspiracy? Well, let's take a break and have a drink. Okay, did you notice that I've been using the full names of the impeached presidents? And did you also notice that the middle names of these presidents all start with the letter J? Well, except for President Andrew Johnson, he didn't have a middle name. It got me thinking, how many presidents have a middle name starting with J? So I Googled it, and there's only two. Of course, that being William Jefferson Clinton, Donald John Trump. So the conspiracy theory right now is if you get elected to the presidency and your middle name starts with a J, then you're going to be impeached. And obviously this is pure science because I have 2 data points. That's enough for me. Do you see the trend? Cheers. Okay, so President Trump was impeached. What effect will this have on his election? Well, according to Forbes magazine, 9 out of 10 incumbents have been reelected in election years where the stock market has performed above average. Right now, unemployment is low, interest rates are low, the Federal Reserve Bank usually doesn't increase interest rates in an election year, and most likely, if the conspiracy theory holds true, President Trump will not be removed from office. This shows a lot of stability, and the stock market likes stability. With all these factors in play, one can assume that the stock market should perform at least average. Thus, most likely President Trump will be reelected. I said most likely, but not for sure. So let's have a drink and talk about a plan of action. Now I want to talk, excuse me, I want to talk to all the people out there who have given up on voting. Those huge masses, really the silent majority who think voting doesn't make a difference. Even you undecided voters who are pulling the hair out of their head saying, I don't want Trump, but there's too many Democrats. Too many, I don't know who to pick. Help me! Somebody help me! Okay, calm down. I'm here and I have the answer. First, I want you to kick back and have a drink of beer. Wouldn't it be cool to be a scientist? To be part of an earth-shattering experiment? To do cool stuff like Elon Musk or Neil deGrasse Tyson? How can all of us be part of a social experiment that will go down in history as one of the greatest events ever? Do you want to do this? Take out your phone, open up the notes, and type in the name Amy Klobuchar. Amy Klobuchar? But she's not in the top 3. She probably won't even win Iowa. Remember, I'm doing this at the same time that Iowa is voting, so I don't know the results. So calm down and let me explain. To be a part of this social science experiment, you have to vote. Why? Because voting, the voting booth is our laboratory. And the theory that we're trying to prove is, if you are president and your middle name begins with a J, then you will be impeached. Trump has already been impeached, so it won't prove anything if he gets reelected. Out of all the Democratic candidates, only Amy Klobuchar has a middle name starting with a J. Her middle name is Jean. We must get her elected to see if the theory is correct. If she becomes president, then she should get impeached. I don't know if it'll happen in her first term or her second, but her middle name begins with a J. So let's see if the theory is true. Cheers to all you scientists out there. This is going to be great. Now, I know what you're thinking. The Republicans and the Democrats will never go for this. I mean, except the Democrats who are already supporting Amy Klobuchar right now. How is this going to make a difference? That's why I need all the people out there who gave up on voting. If you look at past election turnouts, only 50 to 60% of the population votes. If we can make this 80 to 90%, then Klobuchar will get about 40, maybe 50%, and she'll win. So I need everyone in the United States to register to vote. Pick any party you want, Democrat, Republican, Independent, green, yellow, blue. It doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is when you get to the laboratory, which is the voting booth, you vote for Amy Klobuchar. You are a scientist, and you want to be part of the greatest experiment the world has ever seen. Vote for Amy Klobuchar. For science, cheers. So now you know the history of impeachments, what happens when you get impeached, and now you have a plan of action for the next election. We need to elect Amy Jean Klobuchar for science. This is going to be so cool. Well, as you can see, my beer is almost empty, and that means we're at the end of the show. You've been watching the Beer News Report. I've been your host, Art Maurice, and this is the beautiful studios of Create TV in San Jose, California. Please let me know what you think of the show. Hopefully you'll like it and subscribe for future shows. And remember, keep your beer cold and your interests hot. Till next time, cheers. Damn, that was a good one. Woo! That was sweet, man.
Good job, man.
Damn, that was sweet.
Good.